Alongside Aaron Ward and Shane Kelly, I'm Irfaan Gaffar with the fourth period, and we call this segment Dirty Data. Gentlemen, let's jump right into it. Aaron, two teams with Stanley Cup aspirations. That's the Calgary Flames and the New York Rangers, and you like a lot about both their games.
I like that both teams have solidified their goaltending situation. Well, clearly, Vezina Trophy winner in the back for New York is always good. But Vladar coming in to help out Markstrom in Calgary, that's a pretty good duo. I think what was concerning is for both teams. I've been on teams that have been successful where you bring in a presence, and what I mean a big name player, and it takes them a while to get acclimated. They have to feel you out. You have to feel them out and understand them. I don't think that's the case in either situation. Vinny Trocheck coming in for New York has been seamless. I mean, this power play was great. It's even better now with him playing the bumper role. They seem like they're unstoppable. In Calgary, with the movement of three big players and all these guys coming in, I expected a little more adjustment period, but that's not the case. They have not missed a beat. Guys have figured out who they are, where they fit for Calgary. The power play, if you look at the game yesterday against Vegas, down 2-0, that power play got them right back in. And where you have to understand the tendencies of a guy, it seems like these guys have been playing together. So Uyghur, Huberdeau, Kadri, all seem like they've been in Calgary for a very long time. Gives you a lot of optimism on where they stand and making some noise in both their conferences.
The thing with the Flames to maybe pull back a little bit on is their 5-on-5 play hasn't been incredible. If you look at kind of the true contending teams, those are teams that tend to dominate at 5-on-5. Why? Because there's a lot fewer power play opportunities in the playoffs. They are just about 50% expected goals. Their goal share, though, is up over 65. So something's got to give here. Either they're going to start scoring less as they regress towards what we think they should be doing, or they're going to start dominating more. But this variance is unlikely to continue. Brought in really good guys, but we got to see the 5-on-5 play pick up. As far as the Rangers go, to me, this is the Mika Zibanejad story. For years, he's been an incredible power play player, and I think getting Trocheck has really helped them as well there. But he has struggled, Zibanejad, at 5-on-5 to really have the same level of impact. This year, though, he's one of the best 5-on-5 players in the league, and he's a center. He's up there with Matthews and McDavid, and if he can keep doing that for the rest of the regular season, this goes from kind of a fringe contender to one of the true heavyweights in the Eastern Conference.
Aaron, very quickly, from a player's perspective, when you bring in a guy like a Trocheck or a guy like a Huberdeau, and the transition is so seamless, is that on the player or the existing room when you're a winner?
Well, I think a lot of times, like the guy coming in, the onus is on them to figure out the team research, figure out what guys do, what's the kind of style of the team. But you would assume they would have done that in free agency if this wasn't achieved by trade. So Trocheck coming from Carolina, having been in Florida, he's got a decent pedigree of winning. So coming into New York shouldn't be that hard. In Calgary, Kadri coming off a Stanley Cup win, Uyghur and Huberdeau coming in, having been President's Trophy champions last year. I think that there's just an assumption these guys are going to know how to get it done, right? You're veteran enough to know you will understand what Sutter's asking of you. You'll find your place within that system, and you'll integrate easily because of the fact that you have history and understanding through the course of your career on how to get this done. So, again, you picked up some quality guys coming into lineups that shouldn't have any issues.
Shane, we'll go to the city that you're in. When it rains, it pours, and every year it seems to pour on the goaltending. That is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
It's nice when you call something out in the preseason and it kind of stares at you in the face for the first 4 games we highlighted on this program. And, we're by no means the only people to do it, that the goaltending in Toronto is going to be a huge question mark. Lo and behold, 4 games in, it's a huge question mark. The problem for this group is they play a style that's geared towards controlling the puck through your transitions. They want to enter the offensive zone with the puck under control so that they can make seam passes, so that they can create 2-on-1s down low. But the issue with that style of play is that it tends to generate a lot of rush chances the other way. Unfortunately, rush chances are the other really effective way of generating offense. So you get a lot of 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s going the other way when they've been stopped at the blue line. And, a good team, their goaltender can bail you out in these scenarios. But the problem for the Leafs is they're second worst in the league in high danger save percentage. So they're facing a lot of challenging shots and they're not stopping the puck.
Let's be honest, too. This is a psychological barrier for a team. As much as you can feel confident in your goaltending when you have a game stealer, the same is true that you have to step back away from your game at times. And for a team like Toronto that wants to press teams, they want to just put the pressure on, they want to carry, they want to possess. There is that little lingering effect in your performance. You start to think, can I play the way I want to, wholeheartedly knowing what we call a Groundhog Day in everyday life? It's goaltending day there in Toronto. They have not addressed the same problem. And the problem for the players is it doesn't only exist on the ice, it exists off the ice because media's talking about it. We're talking about it. It's ever present in the city of Toronto. They haven't yet addressed it, and they don't have any cap room currently to try and deal with it. I mean, David Ayres, the way injuries are happening for Toronto, you're pulling anybody who has a pair of pads at home in Toronto to come out and play for them. And I say that kind of facetiously, but the truth is, like, the team is looking for a savior, and there's not a savior around for Toronto for that position.
Gentlemen, final one for us. Aaron, we'll begin with you. What's going on with the Devils? I mean, you mentioned goaltending in the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that also seems to be a problem there in New Jersey, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Professor Shane Kelly. So one of the things I've learned over working with him is we look at some of the stats, and I looked at goal percentage and I looked at expected goal percentage, and I went back to him like, this is pretty amazing. They've got pretty good numbers here. And the Corsi numbers, the problem is what it basically tells us is the goaltending's horrific. I mean, Lindy Ruff is taking the brunt of the criticism. They've got a young team that's creative. They got a high level of skill, and it only screams like you've been burdened with some problem you don't even know how to address. It's Toronto now, across the border into the Garden State. There's nothing there that leaves you any confidence that Lindy Ruff can steal the games, players, team can steal the games based on what you put between the pipes.
I feel bad for Lindy Ruff because this is a team that they had a chance in the offseason to go out and try to acquire a true, 1A, or try to sign somebody better than Vanasek to come in. I mean, to me, they've got two players who have at best a spotty track record by both, traditional save percentage and also by all the advanced stats we can look at. And they wanted to have a young contending team backstopped by two guys with a ton of question marks. This will be a great situation if they do get rid of Ruff for all the reasons that Wardo talked about. This is a team that creates a ton of offense. They've got a pile of skill. It's one move away from being on an upward trajectory. And the next coach, if they solve that, can pretty much hold his hands up and count on this thing taking care of itself.
You're really in trouble when someone who's a member of the leadership group, Miles Wood, in that team, we're only about 3 or 4 games average into the season. He's already come out and said he's tired of losing. Like, we haven't even got a litmus test on most teams, and he's already making a declaration that this is where we stand. So red flags everywhere in Jersey.
Aaron, Shane, thank you very much. That was the latest installment of Dirty Data featuring the good, the bad, and the really bad goaltending.